Journey to the Savage Planet. This came out at the end of January and is this kind of really, I feel like, tightly packed Metroidvania style first person kind of exploration action game. For me, it has a lot of Metroid Prime vibes in it. You have like a scanner that you use to scan things and learn more about them. You collect like abilities along the way that allows you to access new areas that you previously weren't able to access. And it's kind of wrapped in this really colorful, like if you think like the planets of No Man's Sky, like the really colorful, vibrant, kind of exotic looking planets. There's a couple of different biomes that you go to. There's like a snowy one, like a foresty green one, and you like go underneath and there's like lava caves and stuff like that. So I think it's got a really sharp look. It has a heck of a sense of humor, which is for me a little bit take it or leave it. I mean, I like the idea of them doing these FMV cutscenes, like they're all live acted and they're all like fake commercials. There's this guy, this president of the company that sent you to this planet that is doing like these infomercials for the company, and as well as sending you like messages as you make progress on the planet. Because like once you get to the planet you're supposed to explore, you find this tower that occupies most of the game, where you're trying to figure out how to get into the tower and exploring everything around it. And he's sending you messages as you reach milestones, and they're all, I think he's a pretty good actor. He does a pretty good job with it, but he's this isn't like a huge cast of characters or anything like that. But a lot of the fake in commercials and stuff are a little grating. I think that's the word you said.
Yes.
Leigh.
Yeah.
They
front loaded with that.
Yeah, they really do. They kind of layer it on real thick at the beginning, and which means that later on they kind of stop showing up as frequently, and you actually start to play the game and find out that it's actually a pretty good, well-designed game. This isn't like a big open world. Like I said, it's very much a Metroidvania style. Very crafted world, very linear progression through it with branching paths, of course, and getting those abilities to open up new areas. What are your overall thoughts on it, Leigh? I know you've been playing it. I think it's hard to tell who's ahead of who because you can kind of unlock things in different orders. So
yeah.
I know you've gotten to a boss I haven't gotten to yet, but I have some upgrades you haven't gotten yet.
Yeah, it's quite good in that respect that it lets you take it relatively on your own course. Kind of it sets you up when you go on the thing, which like get this and get this, it'll be greatly, but then it's like have at it, and you can go out and spread. I do enjoy it. It's I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, I probably played it about 8 or 9 hours, and for the vastness it seems to give you, although it doesn't really, because if you look up, you can actually probably see the end of the game from your starting point, because you can see where the big tower reaches to. So I guess that's quite cool in that way. But it does seem that I'm starting to feel like I could probably spend more time in this. Now that humour that kind of punches you in the face at the beginning is quite. First it's funny, then it's obnoxious very quickly. Once that wears off, you get a bit more free from that, and you want to spend more time than you realise you have left. And I think I'm not that far, and I'm 48% in already. Like, whoa. But
yeah,
it's a good value price. What is it, $30?
Yeah, it's a $30 game.
Yeah. So I can't
So
be too gypped by that, but I feel like I want to spend more time in it than I am. I'm probably going to end up doing so.
yeah, I think for me, I like the idea of like being able to see the end, as opposed to
Yeah,
it
that's
like.
cool.
So it does have some survival elements, like you have to collect certain types of resources in order to upgrade your stuff, but it isn't like,
Mm.
that you're not eating food or having to drink in order to survive or anything like that. It's more like just collecting upgrade materials. So like in contrast to like a game that lays deeper into the survival stuff. It's nice to be able to look at this and see that it has an end, as opposed to like just a never-ending survival game or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm a Metroidvania guy, so anything that has that kind of like, here are the secrets to explore, and the more abilities you unlock, the more areas you'll be able to find more advanced upgrade materials or new tools and stuff like that. That'll get me along pretty far. And I like to complete games,
Mm. It's fun to use the. I mean, I think it's sufficient combat. It'll do for what it is. It's not brilliant.
Yeah. No, the
But
combat's probably the weakest like gameplay element.
actually using your powers like your grapple and your extended jump, well, if you've got your extended jump, that is,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. That is fun.
Yeah.
And you could equally spend as much time doing both. I mean, you can kill everything you like if you want to, but you don't really have to,
Yeah.
because anything really gives you the one or two resources you need to upgrade.
Yeah.
So you could leave that for whenever. So if you really don't want to have combat, you don't have to.
Yeah. And it
But
does
yeah,
that thing at the beginning where it's like, oh, look at these cute little puffy birds. Now kill them. And that's like, that's like an element of the humor that, eventually, I mean, you still have to kick these floating things into these grinding teeth to open up some pathways, but it at least
that
kinda,
doesn't get old.
yeah.
That doesn't get old.
But
I always enjoy that.
it's more like they don't lay into it as much. Once you get past that first, oh, look at this cute creature, kill it. They don't like keep throwing that at you. Like a lot of the creatures, they do look kind of docile. Like you probably wouldn't necessarily be going in murdering them immediately, but it stops like immediately throwing that in your face, and making it a joke. It just like that ends up being, just the flow of the game. And yeah, like you said, the combat is certainly not the strong suit. It reminds me of like the kind of like weightless shooting of like the Fallout games, or most recently the Outer Worlds, where you're kind of like, for me anyway, I end up like spamming bullets because I don't really know if my bullets are going to be hitting the enemy, because like I can't quite precisely put my reticle over them, or there isn't a lot of feedback as to whether or not I'm actually hitting it. The bullets take time, like a little bit too long to travel, so you're not like immediately getting the hits. So yeah, the combat.
Not too bad when the Sorry.
What's that?
Sorry. It's not too bad when the animals are relatively docile and they're just ambling around, and then get a little bit when you have to do stuff like the first boss you get, which is like a Cerberus thing, where you have to platform plus shoot things that hover above its head.
Yeah, that's where
then
it starts
you start
to
have
get
problems.
Yeah. When you start having to multitask and get precise with it, that's where it starts to get annoying. And like that, did you do you must have done the boss that had like the big eye and was like in the middle of that circular room where the bees kept attacking you?
Yeah. With the elephant trunk and
Yeah.
Also slightly awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awkward, not because like it was hard. Like shoot the weak point. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a difficult concept, but it was hard because of the imprecision and aiming and that kind of stuff. Like you did have to hit very precise points, and it just takes a little bit too long to line that up while you're also getting shot at by these other enemies. So like
it's weird that throwing projectiles is sometimes more accurate than your bullets.
yeah, the projectiles are actually really accurate because they'll curve, but they'll like hit directly where you're aiming, and you can chuck them like across the entire zone if you want to. You can throw them so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a mechanic of the game. Part of these upgrades is you upgrade your glove that can pick up different kinds of I guess volatile objects in the world. Like first you pick up this bomb fruit that you can pick them up initially for a little bit, but eventually you get the glove upgrade that allows you to carry them permanently. There's like an acid plant that you can grab the acid out of and use that to solve puzzles. And I just got the electric glove that allows you to pick up the electric fruit, which is a ton of like secrets that I can now unlock because now I have this electric fruit, because there were all these doors that I couldn't get into. So I've been waiting to find that upgrade.
I think one of my favourite upgrades is the pick-upable and throwables. Is you have a grapple which helps you hit grapple points to get up and zip yourself to and fro. Then you get like a seed that you can throw against the wall at specific points that grow new grapples.
Yeah, that's
quite like
cool.
the puzzle element of really scaling it, because it's not as simple as I'll just throw it to the next one, because you'd eventually screw yourself up, because earlier on you only get a certain amount. You can be stuck halfway up and realise you've thrown it in one of the three options that's wrong. So it's kind of quite nicely strategic without being like brain aching.
Yeah, that was probably early on. You get those get those seeds well before you get the grappling hook. And like it's one of these games where you see all the places you're going to be able to go. As soon as you get like the grappling hook, you'll see the grapple spots, and you can scan them. So that's how you figure out a lot of what these things are in the environment. You open up your scanner and you scan it, and it'll say, this is a grappling spot. Maybe someday you'll get a grappling hook. And then once I got those seeds that allowed you to make grappling spots, I was like, oh man, this is going to be pretty cool when they open this up and let me start putting these. Like, I didn't know if it was going to be I could put them everywhere, but it ended up being just on special spots that you can put them. But it's still a little bit more free form than like a linear grappling path. But yeah, like I said, I'm getting strong like Metroid Prime vibes from it. There's no map, which is frustrating, but also I think it does a pretty good job of like giving you enough information where you don't necessarily need the map, and a lot of the level design is really well done, so you kind of like you get used to the areas and the flow of where you're supposed to go next and how to get to where you need to go. Really
smart with a teleportation system as well. The way they dot those around, so they don't make it a chore to get to the things you remember last time.
Yeah, they have a lot of teleportation, like fast travel locations, and in every line of so it's kind of broken up into these zones. Like I said, there was like a snow zone, there was a forest zone, there's like a zone where all of the areas are like way up in the clouds and stuff like that. And they're all on your fast travel map. They're all broken up into those chunks, but then at the beginning of every chunk, there's a quick go back to your javelin, which is the spaceship that brought you to the planet, and it's where you craft all your upgrades and stuff. And it's a very fast load to that javelin. It isn't like you're in like some faraway spot, you choose the javelin, you got to sit there for like a minute or two for it to load it up. It's like almost instant go back to the javelin, which is a nice touch.
And then get out of the javelin quick before it gives you another fucking advertisement.
Yeah, well those
oh god,
those load up immediately when you go in, and there's only like 6 of them too, and they just keep repeating over and over again.
Thing is, it's so obnoxious as well because it kind of snarks at you about consumerism and kind of capitalism, and it's like, well, that's cool, but I bought your game from a multinational corporation superstore,
right?
So wind your neck in a bit.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had your game if it wasn't for a multinational corporation owning a shop.
Yeah, the funny thing is so this game was made by a new team, new development studio, Typhoon, and they were before the game even came out, they were acquired by Google to work on Stadia stuff for them. Yeah. So, yeah. Like, they didn't even have a chance to like be their own independent studio before they were sucked up into the corporation.
Yeah. In that prism, no wonder they did the commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird thing. No, that's a weird tonal shift because you had the live action. It's not unlike what Remedy do in their games, the live action things against the. Yeah, but it worked better with those, I think, because the character models are still realistic. With this, it's kind of a real tonal shift because it's really cartoonish.
Yeah, I also think that they do it more to create an immersive world, as opposed to this where it's obviously just there to be funny. Like, it's just there, like, and it's just there to be like, hey, look at our dumb commercials, as opposed to
you just air quote funny.
Yeah, as opposed to Remedy, which do it as more of like a storytelling device. So yeah, I think overall I'm enjoying the game, especially for the $30 price tag. I think it's hard to complain too much about it. It's definitely I think it's a $30 game. With a couple of things that kind of make it stand out to me, like the exploration, and I just think the design of the levels and stuff is really good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a really good game, but it's one of those games you're playing it and you think, you know, you're going to get to the end of the year and we're going to do the list thing, and it's going to say, I enjoyed Savage Planet, and it's not going on the list. Yeah. It's one of those. It was perfectly fine for what it was when it was out.
Yeah,
you're probably not going to remember it in July.
Probably not
very much,
but you never know.
But it's fun in February.
We'll see how many games keep getting delayed.
Everything success. Just hope everything gets delayed so it stands out.
Right. It ends up being the only game that comes out. All right. So that is Journey to the Savage Planet. That came out at the end of January on PC, which I think that's another Epic Game Store exclusive. PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Voxel Viewpoint. If you'd like to hear or see more, please consider subscribing to us on your favorite podcast app, subscribing to us on YouTube, or visiting voxelvoice.com, where all of our great content comes together in one place. Also check out the Voxel Voice Facebook group, where you can join in on the discussion with a great, like-minded community.